In our society, everyone needs good credit. You need good credit to go ahead and get a good mortgage, to get a loan for a car. But there's a lot of misconceptions around credit score. Well, here is Bernadette Joy. She is the founder of Crush Your Money Goals, and she's going to walk us through what it actually means to have a good credit score and some of the misconceptions in that. Bernadette, thank you for being on the show. And Bernadette, let's get right into it. I want to start with, does everyone need to have a good credit score?
That is a great question. And I think the misconception with a credit score is that people assume if you have a good credit score, that means you're good with money. And what I like to tell people is that a good credit score doesn't necessarily mean that you're good with money. It just means you're really good at borrowing money. And there is a difference, right? If you have a great credit score, that means that you pay your debts on time. It means that you make regular payments to your debt. It means you have multiple kinds of debt. And the trend here is debt, right? And so what I tell people is that while a good credit score can be important for some situations, what is really a good measure of how well you manage your money is your assets and your net worth. And so while you can take some time to focus on a good credit score, spend more time focusing on your overall net worth and how you are managing your money overall.
Okay, here's a question for you. Should I be afraid to pay off loans?
So that is another great question. Since I became debt-free, so I paid off $300,000 of debt in less than 3 years. And a lot of people said, well, that doesn't hurt your credit score if you don't have any loans to pay. And the truth is it did. It actually impacted my credit score negatively, meaning that when I paid off my house, which is a revolving kind of debt, my credit score went down. And at the end of the day, I had to decide what my goals are. And so that is what I would suggest for viewers to think about is, what are your goals? Would you rather have a really great credit score, or would you rather have this really big loan paid off? And making that choice is very important. And I will say for me, it gave me a lot of peace of mind, more peace of mind to have a debt-free home than it did when I had a great credit score.
Can I get a loan without having a great credit score?
Yes. And so I'm actually in this process myself. I'm looking for my next home, and my husband and I are looking for providers who do what we call manual underwriting. So you can look for providers that do manual underwriting, which means that they actually look at you as a whole person, not just a number, not just a snapshot in time like what a credit score is, but they look at your overall asset, they look at your things that make a better decision as to whether or not you're a good person to lend money to. And for me personally, I would want to work with a provider that wants to get to know me as a person and not just a number on a sheet of paper.
How can I boost my credit score too? Because I know some people want to boost their credit score to be able to afford things. How can I boost that?
Yes. So there are some simple things that you can do. One is to always make your payments on time. Two is to make sure that you have good history, so that if you have accounts that you've had for a long period of time, is to make sure that you continue to make those payments. And my favorite tip, which is a really easy tip, it's called the Netflix trick, which is essentially you can take something like a Netflix subscription, which is a small amount of money. You can charge it to your credit card. You pay it off immediately. You have a recurring payment to it that it goes automatically. And then within a couple of months, you'll see your credit score actually increase, because it's showing that you're paying something consistently on time every month. So that's something really simple.
So when you look at a credit score overall, is that a good thing, bad thing? What is it for the normal consumer?
I don't think it's a bad thing to have a good credit score. I think the misconceptions that we're talking about today is that a lot of people make a good credit score, again, synonymous with being good with money. And as a reminder, a good credit score is just one facet of your overall financial picture. And it is just a measure of how good you are at borrowing money. So when you think of this as an analogy, I like to think of it as, to a marriage with someone, would you rather know how good they are at borrowing money, or would you rather know how much money they actually have? And I think that is a difference in learning how to be good with your credit score versus learning how to be good with money overall.
And Bernadette, where can we get more information?
Sure. You can find me at crushyourmoneygoals.com, and you can find me on all social media at Bernadette Joy.
And give me that website once again.
It's crushyourmoneygoals.com.